the 14th seeded Utah Utes take on the 3rd seeded North Carolina Tar Heels in the West region. And good evening, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, and it appeared that North Carolina was going to be a lock as the #1 seed and #1 ranked team most of the year. They won their first 21 games of the season, but then they faltered at the end, lost 3 of their last 4 regular season games, and were knocked out by Maryland in the first game of the ACC tournament. They suffered some injuries, and that's been part of the big reason. But Dean Smith told me a little while ago that Steve Hale, Joe Wolf, and Warren Martin are all well enough and will play, and Hale and Wolf will start tonight's game. And Billy Packer, something about the team North Carolina has to contend with in round 1.
It's a matter of quickness, Dick, and quickness has been a nemesis for North Carolina. Stroman, Upshaw, and Hendricks are extremely quick for Utah. They account for 58% of their scoring. It could be matchup problems for the Tar Heels in that regard.
And of course, the crowd is going to be solidly behind Utah here in Ogden. So coming up, it'll be Utah, North Carolina on CBS.
Tonight's West Region first round game is sponsored by MasterCard. MasterCard International, master the possibilities. Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to live the style, performance, and fun of Chevrolet in '86.
Here's North Carolina's summary, and the good teams win on the road, and that's what the Tar Heels have done. They played 17 games against teams in the championship. Meanwhile, Utah has a losing record on the road, and their biggest win against teams in the tournament was against Arizona, the Pac-10 champion. And right now, for the starting lineups, let's go to the public address announcer, Rob Alexander.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the D Event Center for tonight's West Region first round game between the University of North Carolina Tar Heels and the Runnin' Utes from the University of Utah. Now let's meet the starting lineups. At Utah, at forward, a 6'6" senior from Columbia, South Carolina, number 4, Jerry Stroman. For North Carolina at forward, a 6'10" junior from Kohler, Wisconsin, number 24, Joe Wolf. For Utah at forward, a 6'4" junior from Phoenix, Arizona, number 24, Albert Springs. For North Carolina at forward, a 6'4" senior from Jenks, Oklahoma, number 25, Steve Hale. For Utah at center, a 6'8" freshman from Phoenix, Arizona, number 43, Mitch Smith. For North Carolina at center, a 6'11" senior from Black Mountain, North Carolina, number 42, Brad Doherty. For Utah at guard, a 6'1" senior from Chicago, Illinois, number 11, Calvin Upshaw. For North Carolina at guard, a 6'3" junior from Queens, New York, number 30, Kenny Smith. For Utah at guard, a 5'11" senior from Phoenix, Arizona, number 3, Emmanuel Hendricks. And for North Carolina at guard, a 6'2" freshman from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, number 14, Jeff Lebo. And introducing the head coaches from the University of Utah in his 8th season, Lynn Archibald. From North Carolina in his 25th season, Dean Smith.
So it'll be Utah against North Carolina. UNC leads 6-1 in their meeting so far. Here are the game officials, Hank Nichols, Art McDonald, and Ed Hightower. And we're set to go. North Carolina in white, Utah in red. Albert Springs, who is 6'4", will jump against 6'11" and 3/4 Brad Doherty. Good quick leap. And Mitch Smith controls for Utah. And there's Jerry Stroman, the leading scorer for the Utes, and it's 2-0. Both teams play man-to-man. Joe Wolf out top to Doherty. He's guarded by Mitch Smith. Manuel Hendricks.
Going to try to post up Doherty inside, and Smith's got a lot of size on him.
Kenny Smith, who's been in a shooting slump the last 5 games, ties the score.
You can see by forcing the ball up the court quickly against North Carolina, it doesn't give them a chance to change their defenses quite as much, Dick. So Utah will really force it up with Upshaw and Hendricks.
They really don't have much size at all against what is one of the bigger teams in the country up front.
But you can see they're not playing with a post man either, so a lot of things are open on the inside for penetration. Good screen by Springs.
Upshaw shooting over Doherty, tough shot, and Lebo gets the rebound. The freshman for North Carolina brings it out. Doherty.
There's the problem. When you have that big a size differential, the tough deal is, do we play behind a guy like Doherty or try to front him? If they front, they'll go over the top with a lob. So you can see Utah's going to play behind.
How do you defend against a 6'11 plus and a 6'10 in the front line? Good lob. Inside, they wanted to go to Stroman. And the rebound is by Joe Wolf. Quickly down to Lebo. Lebo tries to get it inside, and good hustle by Kelvin Upshaw to knock the ball away. And quickly into the game is Dave Popson, the 6'9 junior from Ashley, Pennsylvania, who started against Maryland with Joe Wolf out of action.
That's a substitution less than 1 minute and 30 seconds by Dean Smith. Maybe the altitude getting to Wolf in a hurry.
And it could be the sprained ankle. Dean Smith said yesterday he was shocked at how well Wolf was working out. But the day before, he could hardly jog. So Popson is in there, and he's got the ball. He's got size. Doherty against Smith, a big height advantage.
Smith really has a problem, not only in height, but bulk, Dick. You can see that Doherty is getting plenty of room to get his turnaround jumper.
Don't be surprised if Utah at some point may go into a zone defense, and as you said, they can just toss the ball over. Here's Hendricks shooting outside. This is a perimeter shooting team, and Utah committing the foul.
Stroman reaching. And Hendricks is the only player remaining from that Utah team that gave us the great run back in 1983. Going to see the rebound, bounding out. Stroman reaching on Hale. Good block out by Hale.
That Utah team beat Illinois in a big upset in UCLA before losing to North Carolina State right here. Doherty coming on outside. Mick Smith is guarding him. North Carolina scored 6 straight points. Just under 18 minutes remaining in the first half.
North Carolina in their motion offense. Good double team by Utah.
Open man is Hale. And Steve Hale, who is wearing a flak jacket to protect the collapsed lung that he suffered in late February. This is his 3rd game back. Makes the point. Knocked around, and it's still Utah ball.
Good double team by North Carolina. The little jump.
Smith double teamed inside, called for traveling. And Utah, there's the flak jacket that Steve Hale is wearing, and you can see it on the right side as it kind of sticks out of his jersey.
It's a running back's blocking jacket type, but without the pads on in there, and it's just there to protect Steve from where the penetration took place to get to the lung so they could pump some air into it.
Key man for North Carolina. He is a sterling defensive player and 2nd on the team in assists. Stroman shaken up for the moment.
Well, you know, I think he strained something, Dick, when he reached right over Hale to try to get that rebound.
He is the man for Utah, averaging 18 points a game, the leading scorer. And Stroman appears.
First team all WAC player, and they can ill afford to lose him at any portion of this ball game.
So the leading scorer for Utah, 6'6", all conference goes out. Tar Heels have not missed a shot. They're 4 for 4 so far. Loose ball, but Lebo is there. Smith. Hale inside, and Adair, who's come into the game, Bobby Adair, for Jerry Stroman, commits the foul. He's a sophomore from Bordentown, New Jersey, and a renowned defensive player, but young.
One of the things that I'm sure Dean Smith was looking for in this game was his club going to come out hot right off the bat? Were they going to be positive in their passing? It looks like they certainly are, picking up from yesterday's practice session.
He told you that he thought that they might be a little tight. He thought that'd be okay.
Good backdoor cut by Lebo.
Lebo has the ball knocked away. Still North Carolina ball. 16:57 on the clock. 8-2, North Carolina leading.
Only the super quickness by Upshaw prevented an easy layup there. It's tough to overplay North Carolina on the wings because they love to go backdoor. Lob to Doherty.
Doherty to Wolf. Knocked away. North Carolina still with 26 seconds in the steal by Albert Springs.
Flushes it.
Albert Springs, who scored 30 points here in Ogden against Weber State in a game that Utah lost. An outstanding defensive player, and he can leap. And it's 8-4 now. North Carolina breaking a string of points.
Size-wise, he's the one man on the floor that has an advantage over Steve Hale.
Ball nearly thrown away, saved nicely by Smith, and a fantastic pass inside to Hale. He couldn't convert, and the rebound by Adair. Here comes Kelvin Upshaw back for Utah, with a chance to come within 2 points of North Carolina. And Albert Springs does just that.
Utah said that they would not be intimidated, and obviously they're taking the ball offensively right at North Carolina.
But they've got to depend on the perimeter shooting, and you know North Carolina will look inside as much as they can.
The intensity level of this game, Dick's got to wear down North Carolina more than Utah. They're used to playing up here in this altitude.
Lebo, guarded by Kelvin Upshaw. Tough man-to-man by Utah, even though they're undersized.
Excellent.
And Brad Doherty in the lane, and that's just impossible to stop with the size that Utah has. Dean Smith. Only John Wooden has won more NCAA games than Dean Smith.
Straight man-to-man by North Carolina.
They look inside to Mitch Smith. There's no way they can get him the ball. Quickly out to Upshaw. Surrounded, tries to get the ball inside.
Smith, leading rebounder in the WAC as a freshman. Really a gutty performer. Doesn't have a lot of weight on him, but he battles hard on the inside.
15 on the shot clock. And a good fake inside by Kelvin Upshaw. And Utah trailing now 10-8.
North Carolina likes to let their men go baseline. That time nobody back there to protect.
Doherty is fouled inside, and they're going to go into the big man all night long, it appears.
One of the things Doherty is very good at is if he's going to be double teamed in the post, is hitting the ball back outside. You can see right here that Smith is behind Doherty. Tries to get a little help by Adair coming over, and he fouls. Doherty wisely puts up the shot.
Mitch Smith commits the foul and a timeout. 10-8, North Carolina leading. 10-8 to score. North Carolina leading. Just under 15 minutes remaining. Memphis State with a big win over Ball State tonight.
Raleigh Massimino's got him going, Dick.
Villanova wins their first for 7 straight years in the NCAA tournament. And now Dean Smith is going to his bench. Warren Martin, Curtis Hunter, and Ranzino Smith are all in the game for the Tar Heels.
Look at 4 men around Doherty. You know North Carolina's going to get some jump shots off if Utah's going to defend him in that fashion.
And Warren Martin, who's had a sprained foot, misses the shot, and a foul is called against North Carolina. And it's going to be against Curtis Hunter, the junior from Durham.
You can see Martin in good position. Good job by Adair, who's an excellent defender, and Curtis Hunter comes up over the top of Smith for the foul. Stroman back in the game. Looks like he's still got a little pain in that leg.
Dean Smith has gone deep to his bench early. You think the altitude may be one of the reasons?
Well, he normally goes to his bench early and plays an awful lot of people.
And a foul is called against Ranzino Smith of North Carolina. As we bring you up to date with more scores today, Bill. Georgia Tech will face Villanova with their victory over Marist. And it was Temple over Jacksonville in overtime by 11 points.
And, of course, that game much closer than that. And here's Michigan State. Scott Skiles doing it again.
He won the game with the shot. And Georgetown in a tough struggle beating Texas Tech of the Southwest Conference. Steve Hale back in the ball game. Stroman out to Upshaw.
North Carolina in the zone and out of bounds.
Manuel Hendricks misses the shot. Utah still controls with Springs. Stroman outside.
Came down on one leg, Dick.
All right.
He's got some pain there.
Hale the rebound. Carolina leading 10-8. They scored 8 straight points in the early going, and now Mitch Smith is called for his second personal foul.
That's a real problem for Smith, even though he is a battler. You can see he's not sure exactly how to play Doherty. He tried to get behind him that time and side him a little bit. He just can't get around that ball.
40-year-old Lynn Archibald, third year as head coach at Utah. Mitch Smith with his second foul. Archibald was an assistant. Jerry Pim, predecessor, who's gone on to coach in Santa Barbara. Inside, Warren Martin from Kenny Smith, and Martin, who gives North Carolina some additional size off the bench.
And had almost 7 inches on Springs that time, so a very difficult matchup for Utah.
Continuing with the big lineup with Joe Wolf out of action. Upshaw. Smith double team. In trouble. and loses the ball.
Great hustle by Upshaw. Almost picked it off.
12-8 North Carolina, and Kenny Smith brings it across the line. 13 and a half to play, and Doherty uncontested inside.
Well, a tough decision to make if you're Utah. You might have to go to zone. You might have to play behind Doherty and try to force him out a little bit, make him take a little jump shot.
Inside, and Hendricks is called, and
it's Curtis Hunter coming over from the weak side, trying to draw the charge, but the quickness of Utah is able to get in there.
Doherty is 4 for 4 for 8 points, and Hunter is hit with his second personal foul. Curtis Hunter. Joe Wolf is back into the ball game. Kansas, a big winner over North Carolina A&T. Mississippi Valley State gave Duke quite a fight in the first half of their game. Inside, Mitch Smith misses, and Carolina dominating the defensive board. No one underneath for Utah.
As expected, Utah's got to make those shots. They've got to shoot a very high percentage in this game. They're just playing right over the top of Utah right now.
Doherty, 4 for 4, is fouled on that play.
No, it's not unusual for Doherty to be 4 for 4. He started the season 16 for 16.
And he is the leading shooter in the nation right now at 64.7%. Old Dominion defeated West Virginia. Big win for the Sun Belt there. And there's an upset. DePaul over Virginia.
Well, Joey Meyer all year long having a rough time. Gets into the NCAA, and there's Oklahoma. They pulled one out on Northeastern. Big game by Lewis for Northeastern. Played without McAllister, did Oklahoma.
Kelvin Upshaw committed the foul, and Doherty giving North Carolina the 7-point lead, and Jeff Lebo comes back in the game. Here in Ogden earlier today, Louisville beat Drexel by 20 points. And Bradley advances, and they'll play Louisville in the next round as they beat Don Haskins Miners of UTEP. UAB over Missouri in a thriller.
Great ball game at the end. Mitchell doing the job for UAB, handling the ball, making the key foul shots at the end.
Carolina leading 16-8 and pressure in the backcourt. Upshaw brings it across. Hendricks goes in and scores.
Really, there's where Utah can take advantage of their quickness over North Carolina. When Carolina tries to go ahead and press, they have a lot of problems.
The clock has not been running for several seconds. The clock did not run. And they're going to have to bring that to the attention of the officials.
No harm, no foul. I think they won't correct that now.
And traveling call. A turnover. .12:49 is what shows on the clock. Purdue is leading LSU in Baton Rouge by 4 points in the second half, 53-49. The winner will face Memphis State Saturday in Baton Rouge. Doherty again inside over Smith. Misses for the first time, and here's Manuel Hendricks. Kelvin Upshaw popping.
Good job by Utah getting the ball down the court quickly.
Lynn Archibald said we've got to hit our shots and not commit turnovers. That's the only chance we have.
Well, they're not getting many second shots, but if you get down the court quickly and get that wide open jumper, you've got a good chance to have a high percentage.
Lebo misses. Long pass, Hendricks.
Good catch.
Hendricks inside.
That's a great catch, because they knew Kenny Smith was right on his tail.
The senior from Chicago, who people can say can play in any conference. It's 16-14. 6 straight points run off by the running Utes.
And here's that good play by Stroman.
And they can tie it up.
Again, Dick, quickness really prevailing for Utah.
Just when it looked like North Carolina was getting set to blow them out here in this first half, Utah has come back with 8 straight points to tie the game. 11:35 remaining, and Adair is called for the foul by Utah.
You see that Steve Hale trying to set the solid screen. Adair ran right on through it. Joe Wilf must be having some trouble getting his breath.
Dave Popson comes back in. It's been a streak kind of game so far, and nearly a steal by Adair. Kenny Smith,
good shooter,
breaks the tie, and North Carolina leads by 2 again.
But here comes Upshaw. Good pass inside.
Adair loses it out of bounds, and North Carolina has it.
You know, to play this up-tempo game, you can't make a lot of mistakes. But if you say to your club, don't make the mistakes, then you can't play the up-tempo game.
Every fast break team has to commit turnovers.
Exactly.
You can't expect them to commit 10 or 11 in a game.
Good job by Smith.
Good deal by Smith. This is a good defensive team, Utah. Don't be fooled by the fact that Carolina's getting easy points inside.
They held their opponents under 70 points on the year, and they're playing a running gun type game, so you can tell they play good D.
Missing outside Adair, but coming in is Stroman. Jerry Stroman, who had to go out of the game earlier with an injury, has 6 points. He's Utah's high scorer. Doherty leads Carolina with 10, and Adair, Bobby Adair, is shaken up, the second Utah player. Our third tie of the game at 18-18 with just under 11 minutes to go before a packed house here in Ogden, and I'd say all of them are rooting for the Reds.
Well, they don't have the home court advantage, but they have the home crowd advantage, Dick, and sometimes that can be almost as important. They're very comfortable in these surroundings.
Utah has had the big edge, fast break points. Carolina shut out so far there. Warren Martin is fouled inside. If that's against Smith, that'll be number 3 on the freshman.
No, I think it's going to be on Springs, Dick, but it's just a matter of time that North Carolina is going to be building up foul problems on the inside. Springs coming over from the weak side to help Smith out, but Warren Martin's got enough strength to take the ball up with it.
Keep in mind about Carolina playing here against the enemy crowd. Last year they beat Notre Dame at South Bend and then defeated Auburn at Birmingham. So Carolina's had success on the road in hostile environments in the NCAA the last couple of years. And Carolina has.
Warren Martin, a very good free throw shooter.
20-18, North Carolina leading. Their biggest lead was 8, and then Utah ran off 8 straight points of their own.
I think Carolina making a mistake trying to press Utah. Every time they do, Utah gets some kind of easy basket. There it happens again.
Kelvin Upshaw.
Utah just goes right by him, Dick, in the open court area.
Tied at 20.
They go inside of Warren Martin.
Knocked away by Stroman, and Utah can take the lead. Hendricks misses the layup. Hendricks missed the layup, and Utah had a chance to take their first lead since 2-0. Levo pops up. And a foul inside as Martin follows up with a foul against North Carolina.
Dick, at the pace that this game is being played, North Carolina's substitutions are going to be a big factor in the game, in my opinion. Utah kids are starting to really get tired. We're playing a real up-tempo basketball game here. A lot of emotion that's being spent also.
Utah has just used 6 men so far in the ball game. Lynn Archibald has gone with 6. Meanwhile, Dean Smith has gone deep into his bench to 8 and 9 men.
And he has that capacity.
Into the game for the first time is Steve Bucknell. There is Brad Doherty back in the ball game. So Bucknell, the freshman native from London, England, is in the ball game. Hunter goes out, and Kenny Smith comes back in.
And North Carolina goes to the zone. You notice they're not pressing anymore. They're back in that zone. Going to try to take advantage of their superior size.
10 minutes to go in the first half. So Utah facing the zone. And if they're a good perimeter shooting team, they should be effective against this.
Well, they've got Hendricks and Upshaw. There's Hendricks hitting that jumper.
6 points for Hendricks. And it's 22-20 in favor of Utah. Their first lead since the opening basket of the game. North Carolina seeded 3rd. And Utah 14th. Bucknell trapped in the corner. They're looking for help and throws it away.
Every time Bucknell dribbled the ball, Utah dribbled it once.
And this crowd is on its feet.
North Carolina getting ready to trap out of this defense.
Stroman tries to draw the foul. And he can, and North Carolina with Levo leading away to Kenny Smith, working against Upshaw in the corner. Bucknell looking inside to Doherty.
Bucknell has not had a lot of playing time. You can see this up-tempo game has him a little confused.
And a steal by Stroman. And Jerry Stroman has 8 points. And Utah leads by 4. Their biggest lead of the ball game.
That was a pass freshman to freshman. The NCAA tournament is not a real good place for freshmen. They tend to get a little bit nervous. They need that game experience.
You go deep enough into your bench, you're going to be playing a lot of them. Bucknell out to Smith. They're looking for Warren Martin and Doherty. Inside now is Bucknell. Doherty all the way in.
Oh, what a play by Doherty.
Decisive slam dunk by Doherty, who has 12 points.
Now Stroman's asking to come out of the game. He's hurting again.
And he is bent over in pain.
exhausted he is in the eyes. He just can't get his breath. He's in tremendous pain. These kids have been going hard, Dick.
Coming out of the game, Utah on a 16-6 run with 8 minutes and 10 seconds left in the half. There's young Lynn Archibald, who coached at Idaho State and was an assistant to Bob Boyd at USC. And Reeves put the running game back in the running youths, and the crowd loves it, and obviously his players do too.
Came in a three-way tie for first place in the WAC this year by winning 8 in a row. Lost in the opening round of the tournament, but still made the NCAA. Outstanding young coach. He's had quite a few outstanding guys to work under. He's a real disciple of Jerry Tarkanian. Thinks he's the best.
Doherty's decisive slam dunk for Carolina.
I think he shot everybody on the Utah team by taking it from that far away from the basket and taking it all the way to the hole. Nobody there to draw the charge.
Stroman is on the bench for Utah, and Adair is in there for the running youths, and they're working on him on the bench right now.
They are. Stroman looks like he's in a great deal of pain right in the center of his chest.
Springs throws the ball away to Doherty. Ahead of the field is Kenny Smith.
That's a great pass by Doherty because he threw it high enough in the air that Smith could run under it. You have a tendency to want to fire a line drive pass there, and he goes out of bounds. Here's North Carolina jumping, trapping again.
Hendricks going in, and no basket. Player control foul called against Manuel Hendricks, the 5'11 senior from Phoenix, Arizona, and that's his first foul.
They may call this basket. No basket. All right.
Stroman with an ice pack on his chest on the Utah bench.
Well, you pay that price if you're going to go ahead and try to go that far. Now, was the ball released? The answer was no. It's almost a split-second call, but the official right on it.
So North Carolina with a chance to take the lead. Utah had a 4-point lead. Carolina's come back, and we've had 5 ties so far with 7:33 to go in the first half.
There's Doherty positioning in again on Smith. Nice turnaround jumper.
Good baseline move by Doherty, who is 6 for 7 from the field and already has 14 points.
I think Lynn Archibald's doing the right thing with Smith, though, playing right behind Doherty. If he's going to make those jump shots, that's a lot better than the dunks. Here's the trap again. Really hurts Utah to have Stroman out of the ball game. I mean, if you're talking about 18-point-per-game scorer, all-conference performer, they really need his offense out there.
And they do not have a scorer off the bench that can come close to what he can do. Under 7 minutes to go in the half.
Upshaw, Hendricks, and Stroman representing 58% of their offense, so it'd be tough to lose a man of that caliber.
Kelvin Upshaw from outside. Upshaw has 8 points, so the guards have 14 points as opposed to 6 for North Carolina. That's the perimeter shooting.
Now, there was a case where Doherty was fighting for position. Smith had a body on him, and when he got out of the way, Doherty just fell to the ground.
Jerry Stroman comes back in the game. He'll give it a try, and Albert Springs goes out. This is Dick Stockton and Billy Packer here at the D Event Center in Ogden, Utah. This is a first-round matchup between the 3rd-seeded North Carolina Tar Heels and 14th-seed Utah. And it's been nip and tuck so far. We've had 6 ties, including 26 all right now. Stroman gets his own rebound. In the crowd, and Nick Smith is there. Can't convert. Utah had several chances. Lebo for Carolina. Joe Wolf.
Doherty open again.
Kenny Smith was open and hits outside. He looks like he's coming out of a shooting slump.
Stroman cannot run up and down the court. He cannot make it. And he hasn't crossed half court yet. He is really tired, Dick.
He's on the far side. Upshaw in the crowd. And North Carolina is leaving Stroman all alone there as if it's 4 against 5. 28 all the score. Steve Hale drives all the way in.
That was Stroman's man. He cannot play. He's asking to come out. They're going to have to get him out of the game, Dick.
Kelvin Upshaw loses the ball out of bounds, and Stroman is such a game performer trying to go, but he can't even get to midcourt.
Now, I think that the intensity of the game was so strong for the first 10 to 12 minutes that some of the kids just can't even get their breath.
And into the ball game is Jimmy Madison, a 6'8 freshman from Yuma, Arizona, who had knee surgery. Didn't play till January, but is quite a physical specimen. And in the game is Tommy Connor, a freshman point guard from Boise, Idaho.
Son of a coach. And 2 brothers played some ball.
Carolina leading 30 to 28, 5.5 to go. Warren Martin inside. And Hunter comes back in and scores. Curtis Hunter with his first points of the ball game.
Martin not a leaper, but he plays awful tall. I mean, he's 6'11", and he keeps his hands way above his head.
And he's got 1 million block shots. He's been maybe the best shot blocker that Carolina's ever had.
You can see that zone defense now by North Carolina. Tropping son, great catch by Stroman. That ball was thrown right at him.
5 minutes to go. As Bruce Sternum is the report on Jerry Stroman. Stroman is in the ball game, but not doing too much right now, and Carolina's aware of his ailment. Gondrezick is in. Gail Gondrezick, the sophomore from Boulder, Colorado, has also come in, number 5.
Gondrezick has been a starter both this year and as a freshman, down to 6 seconds.
5 seconds, and Stroman misses. Gondrezick fighting along with Jimmy Madison for the loose ball, and the foul is against Utah.
Well, Madison did a good job on the rebound, but Gondrezick came over and pushed Hale.
Gondrezick has 2 brothers, Grant, who's playing now at Pepperdine, and Glenn, who played a while back at UNLV, who have all been in the NCAA tournament. That's so unusual when you consider that his parents had 13 children. Kenny Smith back in for North Carolina, and going out is Curtis Hunter.
You're saying the odds are pretty good. And talking about odds, how about the 100,000 to 1 was Mississippi Valley, and they almost pulled it off with Duke today. I mean, they gave them a battle right down to the wire.
They did. You know, a lot of these teams, I guess, need a while to get their motor running in this tournament, don't they?
Well, in the case of Mississippi Valley, they didn't need it.
But Duke did.
Yep.
Steve Hale on the line hits the free throw. Hale has 5 points and 5 rebounds, and you see why he's so important to Carolina. And of course, Dean Smith went to the quicker lineup a while back by putting Hale in there.
Well, you can see what that defense has done for North Carolina. They've really worn Utah down.
North Carolina has opened up a 6-point lead, 4:37 remaining in the first half. North Carolina leading 34 to 28. And Brad Daugherty is the leading shooter on the leading shooting team in the country. Brad Daugherty having a great year, and of course the best center Carolina's had since Mitch Kupchak.
And you see Kenny Gaddison, who had a big day for Old Dominion today, scoring 25+ points. You know, not only is North Carolina shooting 56.4% on the year, the national record was a team that played here earlier tonight. Missouri in 1980 shot 57.2% as a team in 1980. That's the national record. I can remember if a guy shot over 50% for a game, it was a great night.
Trapping midcourt Carolina. Hendricks pulling up, knocked away by Joe Wolf. It's still Utah ball. North Carolina scored 6 in a row since the game was tied at 28. Daugherty with 14 leading Carolina, and Upshaw with 10, the high score for the Utes. 4:28 remaining in the first half.
Now Utah back to having all 3 of their offensive firepower players in there right now. Upshaw and Hendricks and Stroman. North Carolina dropping back in that 1-3-1 zone with Joe Wolf running the baseline.
Every time Carolina's opened up a 6-8 point lead, Utah's come right back. The question is, can they do it here?
So they're getting a chance to get a little second breath. That's helped them a lot.
Mitch Smith, they surround him. Upshaw. He's been right on. Upshaw with 12 points in the ball game. He has averaged 11.5, so he's already surpassed that, and he's hit his last 6 shots.
That was a case where Lebo dropped back to help out on Smith, and that was unnecessary because you know Smith's going to punch the ball back outside to one of the good perimeter shooters.
North Carolina by 4. 3:46 to go. Joe Wolf turnaround, and Stroman back in the ball game. He has that Bruce Sturman playing nonetheless, and he has 4 rebounds. Upshaw in the crowd. Not that time, and Joe Wolf quickly outlet to Hale. Last touch by Hale, it'll be Utah ball.
You can see that Hale only knows one way to play, Dick, regardless of whether he has on that black jacket or not.
And amazing at 6'4", he's guarded all kinds of players, from Cozell McQueen, Len Bias, and you name them, big and small. Turnovers are even right now with 3:20 to go. Don't forget, Brent will have scores and highlights of a big first day of NCAA tournament action coming up at the half.
Now back to man-to-man goes North Carolina.
Mitch Smith, and the rebound by Brad Daugherty. Kenny Smith to Daugherty, left wide open.
He can make that jumper.
7 of 8 from the field, and 16 points for the Carolina center Daugherty, the senior.
Named All-American earlier in the week, showing us why he can do it.
17 seconds left, LSU and Purdue. And meanwhile, a great play by Jerry Stroman right here, and it's 36-32 Carolina.
Super drive, even though it went among the trees.
Lebo misses outside, and a foul is called against North Carolina. And once again, Utah continues to claw back every time they fall behind by 6 or 8.
I really take my hat off to Stroman because he is wincing in pain as he goes up and down the court. He only gets up court about once every 2 times, but he still had the guts to go back down there and make that penetrating move. You can see the pain the kid's in.
Warren Martin come in for Joe Wolf as Carolina continues to shuttle in those redwood trees, and Utah facing one of the few real tall teams they have played this year. Hanging in there, trailing by 4, and Kenny Smith can't save it out of bounds.
Stroman's from Columbia, South Carolina. Not a bad rookie in the NBA this year. Xavier McDaniel from Columbia, and Tyrone Corbin, who's got to be happy tonight based on what DePaul did. So you got 3 kids out of that town that have been major factors in the NCAA tournament lately.
Dick Stockton and Billy Packer were in the first half. North Carolina, 3rd seed against Utah, the 14th. Carolina gets the turnover, leading by 4 points. It has been close throughout, a game of streaks. Every time Carolina's had the lead, Utah clawed back, and we have had 7 ties.
Good block by Smith.
Loose ball, Stroman, who's playing in pain, the leading scorer for Utah. Hendricks with a jumper. Upshaw on the other side. Blocked in there by the 2 big men. Utah's claiming goaltending, and they won't get their wish.
Not even close to goaltending, but a good try. Good dish off by Stroman. Hendricks might be a little tired. Throws up almost an air ball there, and there's Upshaw, who's such a hustler on the inside, gets the shot blocked, but after the shot gets hit.
Brad Daugherty with his first personal foul, and Albert Springs back into the ball game. They say maybe he's the best defensive player in the Western Athletic Conference, and obviously hurting Jerry Stroman, who has scored 10 points, back to the bench. Upshaw hits the first free throw.
Lynn Archibald doing a real good job moving his bench around. He does not have that type of bench that he can go to like Dean Smith. He's keeping everybody fairly fresh.
Jimmy Madison is in for Mitch Smith, so he's gone more to his bench now.
And I think that's a very good substitution on the basis that Smith has got 2 fouls on him. He doesn't want to pick up that 3rd one here in the first half.
Kelvin Upshaw with the first 2 free throws for Utah tonight with 1:45 to go in a half. North Carolina leading 36-34. They're in overtime in Baton Rouge. LSU playing on their home court against Purdue.
Madison doing a good job.
Lebo off the rim. And they're going to call the foul against Upshaw, and that'll be his 2nd.
Lebo had the inside position. Upshaw just went under. This Lebo isn't going to miss many of these kind of shots. He's wide open on the inside. Adair does a good job boxing him, and there comes Upshaw off of the back.
At the conclusion of every CBS Sports NCAA tournament broadcast, we'll be selecting the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player from each team. And Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. This has been the lingering story of the Utah Utes so far in the first half. That in their scrappy play. Leading scorer Jerry Stroman coming in and out of the game with that bruised sternum. 2 free throws by Lebo. Only the 6th freshman to start for Dean Smith. The others are all super players, eventually made All-American. 1:20 remaining. Now,
North Carolina again changing defenses. They show the man-to-man. Now they're in that 1-3-1 defense.
Upshaw's been effective outside. So has Ben Hendricks.
You can see Dean Smith saying, I don't want Upshaw or Hendricks to get the shot off. Let Springs take it.
Madison, number 42. Adair has not really touched the ball at all offensively for Utah. They have 8 seconds on the clock. Hendricks hits. Well, the best laid plans, brother.
Well, I don't think the players were as aware of Hendricks and Upshaw as they should have been in that particular defense. And he let somebody else put up the shot and play that tight.
2-point game for North Carolina, and the Utah fans are looking for defense here.
Good overplay.
30 seconds on the clock. There'll be a 2-second differential. Lebo tries to draw the foul. And a foul is called against Utah. There in the penalty.
Good job by Lebo to use the left hand. Now, what he tries to do here, Dick, is not worry about making the basket, but make sure he throws up something that can get him fouled. We saw Steve Mitchell do that so well for UAB against Missouri late in the ball game today.
Albert Springs with his 2nd foul. And here's Lebo, freshman from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And I guess Dean Smith just had to find a place for him in the lineup sooner or later.
Well, he really got into the lineup off his performance against University of Maryland, where he came out and had 18 points in 24 minutes to pull that game out up at College Park.
That's the first miss from the line for North Carolina. They're 9 for 10. Hendricks slowing it up now, and they play for the last shot, trailing 39-36 to North Carolina.
Again, North Carolina has to be aware of two fellas out there now, particularly Hendricks and Upshaw. They're out there in the trapping man-to-man defense.
Stroman is on the bench. He's been hurt. In the crowd, Madison shooting over Martin. He gets it. 1 second. What a hand for Utah. The score, North Carolina 39, Utah 38. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this message and a word from your local station. LSU and Purdue are 1 second away from a double overtime in Baton Rouge, and they are going into double overtime. Meanwhile, halftime here, North Carolina leading Utah in what has been a surprising game, 39-38, and a tremendous pace game, Billy.
Well, it really is, and it eventually has to take its toll, Dick. I think this was the most furious pace I've seen in the first day of action in the NCAA tournament, and playing at this altitude, you know the kids are going to wear down.
All right, let's talk about some of the important statistics. Well, it's not surprising that North Carolina is shooting 60, but Utah at 55%.
Well, they've been able to play the full 90 feet, and that's helped them because they've gotten open shots, but that's a team that only shoots 47% on the year.
How about Utah leading Carolina in rebounding despite the huge front line of the Tar Heels?
Well, again, they spread the court out well, and they beat them down the floor some. Utah is a team that on the year gets out-rebounded by their opponents by 4. Carolina out-rebounds their opponents by 5.
Brad Daugherty has 16 points, nearly perfect so far from the field in the first half.
Well, this is the play that probably shocked the scouts that are in the crowd. Brad Daugherty from about 20 feet out, putting the ball on the floor, taking it all the way to the basket. Great play.
And the leading scorer has really played in pain, Jerry Stroman for Utah in the first half.
Well, he has really shown a lot of guts because he's suffering a lot of pain. He has a bruised sternum, and he has a hard time getting his breath. And you can see after he made the great play, it was just about all he could do just to get over half court going back on defense.
Kelvin Upshaw is the leading scorer for Utah with 14 points. And the running Utes are in it here. A 1-point lead for North Carolina, and CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this word from your local station.
Tonight's West Region first-round game is sponsored by Hewlett-Packard, the people who turn your business computing problem into a business computing solution, and by Yamaha. We make the difference.
Dick Stockton and Billy Packer back at the D Event Center in Ogden, Utah, where North Carolina, with Daugherty, 7 of 8 from the field for 16 points. Stroman, despite his bruised sternum, has come in with 10 points for Utah.
They say now, Dick, he is also hyperventilating, so we may see some of those plastic bags out, you know, just trying to go ahead and get his breath back. That halftime had to be something that they were all looking forward to.
Now, I guess he's going to play as long as he can, then have to take a rest and come back in.
See how long it takes North Carolina to go the ball inside to get Daugherty cranking up again in the second half, possibly getting Smith that third foul.
Lebo and Smith in the backcourt. Hale up front with Joe Wolf, who's been in and out of the game, has not played all that much in Daugherty. Wolf is open for his patented jump shot and hits it.
Now, they're trying to double team Daugherty. Wolf gets his first 2 of the night. Had nobody on him.
Utah with Stroman, Springs, Smith, Hendricks, and Upshaw, the same 5 who started the game.
North Carolina right back in their man-to-man.
3.5 minutes left, and LSU has opened up a 6-point lead over Gene Keady's Boilermakers.
Well, Dale Brown was able to break that streak of postseason losses in the SEC tournament. Looks like he may get one in the NCAA tournament.
Mitch Smith with his first basket of the game. Hale has his shot blocked by Smith, and a lead pass. Manuel Hendricks.
A very poor defensive play by Kenny Smith. He should have stayed with Hendricks.
Hale coming right back. Misses the shot, and Smith has been all over both ends of the floor so far. He tried to get it in, and Lebo intercepted.
Oh, that was a great pass. Good hustle by Lebo to knock it off, but a great bounce pass. Good try.
Kenny Smith almost threw it away. Lebo saved it. Long. Missed the shot. They were going for Wolf. Lebo is 0 for 5 from the field in this game. Freshman from Carlisle, PA. Winding up on the ground is Upshaw. Misses the shot. Fight inside, and a foul called, and it may be 3 against Smith. And he doesn't like that call. Mitch Smith.
Well, he's a tough kid.
3 personals against Mitch Smith.
Just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, but you can't ever fall in for hustle.
Lynn Archibald urging his team on. 42-41, Utah leading early here in the second half.
I think it'd be smart for North Carolina to try to get that ball down inside of Doherty now. Smith's on there with 3 fouls on him.
It's been their bread and butter. Wolf is hit on the wrist and will go to the line. And the foul is called against Jerry Stroman.
Now, Lynn Archibald going down that sideline. He's probably going to have to make a move here to put Smith down for a while. He certainly has to be thinking about it because he's got a small team as it is, and if Smith gets in any further foul trouble, be tough for Utah.
Joe Wolf misses the free throw. He's got a dare at 6'8", it's the sophomore, and Jimmy Madison, another 6'8" freshman who was used so far.
I thought Madison did a good job in the first half because he's got some power and he can push and shove inside.
Against Carolina, you'd have to do it. Wolf misses both, but it's tapped out to Kenny Smith. Hale wide open. And Doherty is right there for the easy stuff. And Doherty now is 8 for 9 and 18 points. Carolina regains the lead, 43-42. Nearly 2 minutes gone by in the second half. Driving the baseline is Upshaw. Smith with 3 fouls, fighting his way in there. And Doherty gets the rebound. Hale. Stroman back defensively.
Secondary break for North Carolina.
Wolf. Springs. Stroman on the wing. And a foul against Lebo.
North Carolina trying to run that secondary break where everybody comes down court, takes it to the corner, and then expect the trailer to take the jump shot. Utah really executes the break nicely.
North Carolina had an 8-point lead, 16-8 in the first half, and then Utah ran off 8 straight points to tie it up. Took a 24-20 lead, and they've gone back and forth since then. And on the line here for the Utah Utes, making their 14th NCAA appearance, is their leading scorer, Jerry Stroman.
As you see there, a 71% free throw shooter, goes to the line off 160 times this year. Just a good all-around basketball player.
And used, as he said, he's used to playing against taller opponents. He breaks the tie, and Utah with 6 lead changes. We've had 7 ties, and the Utes lead by 1.
Utah's doing a good job, too, forcing the ball outside, so it makes the passing lane tough to go in the post to Doherty. Doherty knocking Smith out of the way, but Smith hustles back.
Nick Smith knocking it away, and this is a very strong man-to-man defense Utah's playing right now. 2 minutes left, and LSU still leads Purdue. First round matchup in Baton Rouge, 8-point lead for Dale Brown's team, playing on their home floor. Smith guarding Doherty. Smith has 3 fouls. Lebo with the fake. Kenny Smith hits outside, and Kenny Smith now with 10 points in the ballgame.
It's been Kenny Smith from the outside, the only fellow who's been consistent for North Carolina.
He's 5 for 6. Nearly 3 minutes now gone by in this second half. Winner will go on to play the University of Alabama at Birmingham in the second round. Hendricks from the corner. Hendricks with 12. Manuel Hendricks. Billy mentioned the only player left from the 1983 NCAA team that lost to North Carolina State here.
Well, I saw Pace Mannion at halftime, was the star in that ball club again, going over the top to Doherty and a lob from Wolf. Mannion seemed to feel that his old teammates are doing a pretty good job out here, which they certainly are, taking it right to North Carolina.
8 lead changes and a turnover. Wolf to Smith. Carolina big man look like they're getting a little fatigued out there.
Well, I think we'll see substitutes coming soon. Curtis Hunter's already down on the sideline.
Kenny Smith with 12 points. It's 49-46 in favor of North Carolina.
And they go zone. guy that's showing real good stamina is Doherty in this ball game, considering the fact he's carrying a big load out there.
Hendricks misses. Kenny Smith the rebound. Not having quite the year he had a year ago. Hale driving in as the shot blocked by Springs. Hendricks to Stroman. Doherty is back on defense, and Stroman gets the basket. Great body control by Stroman.
And an excellent no call by the official, but on the other end of the court, I thought there should have been a goaltender. That ball went off the board.
Carolina lead is 1. Good play by Stroman with Doherty, just waiting. Gave up a lot of inches there. Springs is on Hale. Smith with 3 fouls on Doherty.
Smith really going chest to chest with Doherty. Good job.
19 seconds on the clock.
Left-handed.
Joe Wolf from the baseline. And Joe Wolf with 4 points in the game. Coming into the game averaging just under 10.
Considering the fact that he hasn't been practicing much, his stamina looks pretty good too.
He does, considering that his best practice session was yesterday right here. Dean Smith didn't think he'd have any chance of playing before that. Under 15 minutes to play. 51-48 North Carolina.
Utah's gone almost 6 minutes with the same fellas out there right now. No substitutions on the part of either side.
Mitch Smith from the baseline with a second basket, all here in the second half, and it's 51-50, and North Carolina just can't get a big lead against Utah and keep it. And the crowd loves it. The Utah partisan crowd here in Ogden.
Hendricks trying to stop Kenny Smith from getting the ball, reaches.
And coming in is Warren Martin, among others, into the ball game. Dave Popson is also in there, and we'll be back. Thank you, Brendan. That means LSU will again have that home court edge in a tougher matchup, perhaps against Memphis State in Baton Rouge.
It's going to be a very tough matchup, but you know, Dale Brown's got him going now. That's the first time, not counting the SEC, he's won since '81 in the NCAA tournament.
Curtis Hunter has come in along with Hobson and Warren Martin for Carolina. Knocked away by Gondrzek.
Kevin Madden in the ball game, another freshman. Saw Bucknell get in the first half, and now Madden here in the second half.
Madden's a strong leaper for Dean Smith.
You notice when North Carolina steps out, Utah is so much quicker that they beat them to the spot.
And the ball is thrown away. Turn away, and so Utah, on a turnover, will have a chance now to regain the lead. We have had 8 lead changes and 7 ties in this game. 51-50 North Carolina leading.
And with this lineup, North Carolina, Martin in the middle going to that zone with Martin patrolling right underneath the basket.
Stroman has played all the way so far in the second half, Bill. Gondrzek hits the outside shot. Utah leads again.
Utah gets back very nicely on defense. Just don't give North Carolina any transition baskets at all.
And they're sticking all over Carolina. They're not giving them an inch.
You notice without Doherty in the game, Carolina seems to be upset as to who's going to get the shot off.
Smith misses the shot in there, and Utah has it. Doherty and Kenny Smith are 15 of 18 between them from the field.
Great job by Utah. The transition game is all there.
Gondrzek with the basket, and Utah leads by 3.
Dean Smith's going to have to put his regulars back in quicker than he wanted to.
He's going to bring back Hale and Joe Wolf.
The defense by Utah is so aggressive, it has taken North Carolina right out of their offense.
Curtis Hunter, this is the shot and a foul against North Carolina's Warren Martin.
This is exactly what we said at the top of the show. Utah would use their quickness, which has been a real nemesis for North Carolina all year long. Here, North Carolina can't get the transition basket. Utah comes right back and gets one, using their superior quickness on the inside.
Utah, the running Utes, and it shows right there with a 16-4 edge. Stroman is getting his first breather of the second half, but he's scored 14 points, and he really has given them a tremendous boost. Just being in there, great presence for Stroman. Loose ball taken away by Curtis Hunter.
That's a good foul by Upshaw because Hunter was off to the races. No, neither team in the 1-and-1 yet, so North Carolina merely get the ball out of bounds.
3 team fouls against Utah. Bobby Adair, number 44, had come in for Stroman. Dean Smith trying to advance to the second round against UAB, and Tiger by the tail here in Utah by
spreading out that real aggressive defense on North Carolina. North Carolina can't get the ball inside to Doherty. There was a break by Hale.
Hale with 7 points in the game. Utah's lead is 1. Less than 12 and a half minutes remaining in the second half. North Carolina all over the court. Smith is playing with 3 fouls.
Great play by Smith.
You know, his aggressiveness has not dropped off one bit despite his foul trouble.
Well, you notice how North Carolina's got their offense spread so far from the basket, they can't take advantage of Smith and Doherty on the inside.
Hunter.
Oh, that's his foul on Smith. That's his 4th. Tough break for you.
It's amazing that the 4th foul on Smith, the 6'8" man, comes outside, not even underneath where the going gets tough.
Well, he's such an aggressive player, and he really didn't get stuck with Doherty that time. He tried to go out and cover too much ground.
So Jerry Stroman is going to have to come back in the ball game as Smith goes out. He has scored 6 points so far in this game. And here's Stroman, who has 14 points. He and Upshaw are the scoring leaders for Utah. Brad Doherty has already matched his season's high, or his average, with 20, and also in his Jimmy Madison, who's a good banger.
A good job by Lynn Archibald to come back with Madison, who showed in the first half that he could bang around inside and use that strength. He has an excellent body. He had a knee injury early in the year, which held him back, but he's back full strength now.
Here's Curtis Hunter. He has shot well against Duke and Maryland late in the season.
Curtis Hunter was a high school All-American out of Durham, North Carolina. He's been sidelined by injuries, out all last year. They had to hold him out due to injury. Very gifted performer, just hasn't had a chance to get a lot of playing time.
And Utah's lead is cut to 1, 56-55, with 8 minutes gone by here in the second half as Carolina picks it up. Gondrusek beats the defenses down court. Madison inside. And North Carolina comes out with the ball. Good defense by Carolina inside.
You notice every time North Carolina presses Utah, they go right through them like they're not even there.
Hunter. Good block. It away by Adair, and Wolf comes back with a follow-up.
Boy, Adair's a good defensive player.
He's a sophomore from Bordentown in New Jersey who found his way out here in Utah. And a timeout called by the Utes. Lynn Archibald's team trails North Carolina 57-56, 11:36 on the clock. Tight ball game here in Ogden with North Carolina leading Utah by 1, and Carolina, of course, with the great tradition. And Dean Smith coached 31 of those 38 tournament victories, and of course a national championship in '82. Frank McGuire was at the helm when they won their first title with an unbeaten team in '57.
Of course, UCLA leading on that chart. Johnny Wooden responsible for 47 of those wins. He was 47-18, Dick. 41-1 of his last 42 games. So he was 3-17 up to that point.
Adair to Upshaw, trapping with Hunter and Smith. Adair firing inside.
Great block by Wolf.
Hendricks tried to use his body against the bigger Wolf, and Wolf got a piece of it anyway.
Again, every time North Carolina tries any type of their pressure defense, Utah goes right through it. Here's a super block by Joe Wolf.
We've had 11 lead changes and 7 ties. And Utah coming right back with Upshaw with his first basket of the second half. Leads Utah with 16. And the Utes are in front again, 58-57.
Well, 2 years ago, Upshaw was the leading scorer on this squad. He's had some big games.
Wolf looking inside. Doherty.
Madison doing a better job on Doherty because he's got enough strength to push him a little bit.
Hale drives baseline, and Madison blocks the shot. You're right about Madison. He's given them some good presence and bulk in there. Upshaw has it knocked away by Smith, and Utah still keeps the ball.
Just how they keep pushing the ball down the court quickly against North Carolina. Really have to be in good shape to be able to do this.
But you still think that Utah could run out of gas with this pace?
Well, as long as Stroman can get a blow every once in a while, I think that helps him a lot because it looks like Upshaw and Hendricks can go all night long. And North Carolina doesn't want to go to their bench because every time they have, the bench has not been able to produce for them.
Much tougher test than Dean Smith would have liked here in this first round matchup as North Carolina hustling, but it's still Utah ball with 10:48 showing on the clock.
I think a lot of people here in this state remember in 1983 when the Utes did so well in the NCAA tournament with those big upsets over Illinois and UCLA.
They've got a rich tradition. They won the national title in 1944 and have gone to the Final Four 2 other times. Adair going in, and Hank Nichols.
A foul before the shot.
Calls the foul against North Carolina, only their 3rd team foul. of the second half, and Doherty with number 2 for him.
I think another interesting thing is 7 times in Utah's history when they've been in the NCAA tournament and have been beaten, they were beaten by the team that eventually won the national championship. The last time, of course, being '83 when they lost to NC State.
Lebo is back into the ball game for North Carolina, and of course they lost to Texas Western, the eventual champion in '66, when Jerry Chambers of Utah was the MVP of that tournament. Kenny Smith with Hendricks. Hendricks fouls in the basket. Will not count.
Got him outside.
You're right. The foul before the shot.
Kenny Smith is one of the fastest guys with the ball in college basketball, and Hendricks kept right up with him. Blazing speed. You can see Kenny Smith has a little lead on him. Look at Hendricks close that gap, fouled him early.
And that's 3 fouls on Hendricks, and now they brought back Mitch Smith, who's coming back with 4 personal fouls. Back in the game for Lynn Archibald.
Yeah, Lynn Archibald's got to make the move. And Madison again really pushing Doherty inside, doing a good job on it.
Kenny Smith misses. Ball comes back down to Carolina.
Lebo has not hit a basket. There's where Doherty wants him.
Hale.
Tough shot from there. That little 8-footer is a tough shot.
10 points for Hale. North Carolina regains the lead, and they were halfway through this second stanza. 59-58, North Carolina. Madison coming out, Doherty giving him a lot of room.
He knows he's not going to shoot. They're looking for Hendricks and Upshaw now. There's Upshaw.
Hendricks, long range. And the rebound, Joe Wolf, into the hands of Kenny Smith. He was going for Doherty, nearly threw it away. Joe Wolf pops and hits.
Dick, that's a hard shot to make when you're tired. You need to come down here and take that jumper. It's not like you're shooting out in the backyard.
Joe Wolf, 8 points.
Good backdoor cut. Super play by Stroman.
Just as he wrote it out on the blackboard before the game, a perfect backdoor play by Utah, and it's 61-60 Carolina. 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go in this one.
You notice since Madison's come into the game, Doherty has not been able to touch the ball in the low post.
Hale throws it away to Hendricks. And Utah can regain the lead. How many times have we said that tonight? Upshaw is fouled before the shot, and that will be for North Carolina team foul number 4.
Now Madison having to go out of the game now just to take a little rest to get his breath. He's exhausted on the sidelines. Adair comes back in.
So it looks like they're rotating Smith, Madison, and Adair, and now Warren Martin comes back in the game for North Carolina, and Joe Wolf goes out. He's done a good job tonight since coming back for the first time in a while.
I would agree. Warren Martin coming in the ball game. The quickness of Utah has taken away Warren Martin's ability inside to do much with the ball.
Wolf was 4 for 6 from the field. Utah trying to regain the lead, and North Carolina back into the zone.
You can see Utah surround that zone, looking for that Upshaw-Hendricks combination. Stroman comes to the corner.
Stroman, foul. He went up against Doherty and Martin, and a foul is called. That'll be team foul number 5, and on Martin, that'll be his 3rd personal.
Utah really does a good job, Dick, in the fact that the fellas that are supposed to score, those fellas that represent 58% of the offense, are the guys they get the ball to. The other fellas understand their roles and play it well.
This is a poised Utah team that belies their record of 20-9 against WAC opponents primarily.
Well, you know, a lot of people felt that the 3rd WAC team, Wyoming, should have been in the NCAA tournament. UTEP did not have a particularly good game today. I thought Bradley showed that they deserve maybe a little bit more credit than people have been giving them.
Stroman with 16 points and 5 rebounds, misses the first free throw.
These two teams have played 9 times in their history, North Carolina having won 8.
Stroman was cut from his high school team as a junior. He played junior college ball. Think somebody made a mistake somewhere along the line?
Well, sometimes they're late bloomers. Here you see LSU, a real shootout down there in Baton Rouge.
Tough for Purdue to have to play the Tigers in their own lair, but LSU will advance to play Memphis State on Saturday.
Uh-oh, 5th foul on Smith, away from the ball.
He's out of there, and that's going to cut down Lynn Archibald's rotation of the big men. And that means Madison and Adair are going to have to play a lot more.
Isn't this amazing? Smith battled all night long against Doherty. The last 2 fouls he picks up are away from the ball, not against Doherty at all. And again, you're talking about a freshman with a little experience. He'd probably stay out of that foul situation.
Tough way to go for Mitch Smith. 6 points and 3 rebounds for the freshman from Phoenix, but he looks like he's going to be quite a player. And Madison comes in for him, and Jimmy Madison has been a tremendous defensive player since he's been in there, particularly against Doherty.
That's true, but now your bench is one man less. You don't have that move you can handle.
And they don't seem to have any more big men that they can call on as Martin hits the first free throw.
As I pointed out, Warren Martin, a very good free throw shooter. Been hobbled by injuries his entire career. Looks like he's trying to gut it out here, though, in the NCAA. Uses all the basket twice.
That's why it's up there, I guess. 63 to 61, North Carolina leading with 8 minutes and 11 seconds to go. Biggest lead was Carolina by 8 in the first half. Utah by 4, also in the first half.
Stroman won in the lob from Hendricks. He was wide open.
Trying to sneak back door. Hale trying to keep a watch on Stroman. Hendricks looking that way. 17 on the shot clock. Hendricks, long bomb. Madison is inside, triple team. And they're going to call a Hill ball, and the possession goes to Utah.
Madison had excellent position. He realized, however, that the two big guys were right behind him. He probably should have just gone and put it up, taken his chances. He allowed Hale and Lebo to go ahead down in there and grab the ball.
Stroman inbounds to Adair, nearly lost it. We've had 13 lead changes and 8 ties. 7:35 remaining. 63-61 North Carolina.
North Carolina goes out of the zone, back to man now.
Stroman over Hale. Madison and Adair fighting. Lebo comes out with it to Hale. Hulk is Hendricks. And Hale goes in with the basket, and Stroman didn't even get up to midcourt there.
What happened? Adair was holding Brad Doherty by the shirt and wouldn't let him get in the fast break.
And no one saw it, except you. And Doherty.
Well, Doherty felt it. I don't know if he saw it.
Winding down to 7 minutes to go. North Carolina by 4.
Now they go back to the zone. They're changing those defenses, and when you see that Utah cannot get the transition game going, Dick, it allows North Carolina to change their defense a lot.
Adair inside. And Doherty gets the rebound, and North Carolina will try to open up a 6-point lead now.
And it's time to go to Brad Doherty at least once on this occasion.
He has scored only 4 points in the second half, has 20 in the game.
There he is.
Doherty against Madison. The basket is good.
There's where seniors in the NCAA tournament mean so much. Hale realized exactly what he needed to do, make sure Doherty handles it, and he got him the ball perfectly. Here's what I was talking about, Dick. Now watch there. He's got Doherty by the shirt, will not allow him to get in the fast break.
What happened to Tearaway?
Well, what happened to the referee? I mean, we got 3 of them out there.
Doherty is on the line. North Carolina has scored 6 straight points, going for number 7 right here. They don't get it in Utah, trailing by 6 points. They've come back every time so far. Doherty with a fine play. Knocked the ball away, and a Utah foul on Lebo.
The fouls are starting to really pick up right now for Utah.
You know, interesting that Dean Smith said, why is Utah a 14 seed? You look at the rest of the tournament, and you see Ball State, Cleveland State, and Arkansas Little Rock as other 14 seeds. He says, now we have to come in and play Utah as a number 14.
Well, he's always looking for the angle, okay? But he said something, I think, before the season started, that he knew his ball club did not have quickness. And what he's been trying to do all these years is to work his defense with quickness and create a lot of turnovers. This year he doesn't have that quickness, so the team has been much more passive defensively.
This is an important game for Smith in North Carolina, considering that the question of chemistry was up in the air coming into this game.
Well, with the injuries, it's hard to get the team back to blend together. They were so hot in the month of January and February.
Matching the biggest lead of the ball game, North Carolina has scored 8 in a row to take an 8-point lead, 69-61, 6:20 remaining. You know, Billy, for 19 years in a row, Dean Smith finished first or second in the ACC, and for the first time, he finished third in the conference. Tremendous record of consistency.
Well, it really is. And you know what's interesting? You're looking at that man right now, looked upon as a legend in his own time. His first 3 years at North Carolina, he was 8-9, second year 15-6, then dropped down to 12-12. And there were a lot of people at that time said, hey, you know, this guy will never get it done here. You know, he's not another Frank McGuire. Just the patience of the university allowed him to have his time, and look at what he's been able to do since then.
Phenomenal.
I thought that was a well-called timeout by Lynn Archibald. His team's getting a little tired, and they can't afford to not get off a good shot right here.
69-61 North Carolina.
Carolina packing that zone back in a little bit. You got Hendricks and Upshaw out there. They're pretty good bombers.
Utah has not scored in 2.5 minutes.
They're certainly not going to play Madison that far away from the basket. There goes the lob.
Stroman couldn't hold on to it, and it comes down to Joe Wolf. They tried it, but Stroman couldn't handle it. He's been a game player, playing with a bruised sternum, and has scored 17 points to lead Ute.
Well, you know the rule change means a lot, because if this was last year, North Carolina would be playing a four corners right now.
Wolf misses, battling for the loose ball. Hendricks, Upshaw, and there they go. Utah taking advantage of the turnover on the transition game, and now they're down by 6.
You have to play this year. No way to put it in the deep freeze.
Joe Wolf.
Tough shot for him.
Doherty crashes the board, comes down to Springs.
And here comes that transition game again by Utah.
Kelvin Upshaw. Springs inside, and a blocking foul against North Carolina will send Springs to the line. Lebo coming back into the ball game, and going out will be Warren Martin, so a smaller team in there for Dean Smith. Foul is on Hale, his second personal.
Springs not a good outside shooter. Hale made a mistake going at the fake on the outside, allowing Springs to come around on the baseline. Gotta let him take that jumper if he wants it.
Only the 6th foul. Springs goes in and misses. Lebo the rebound. Next foul will put Utah in the bonus, and it's still a 6-point game. Carolina controlling.
Lebo's open for the shots, not looking to take him.
Doherty over Madison.
Oh, he hit the shot. Great play.
And Madison was belly up with him defensively.
Right.
Not much he could do.
Right there, had a hand in his face. Good job by... Now here's what Smith could not do. He wasn't strong enough to be able to belly up against Doherty, but that was just an excellent shot. He's not making all easy turkey shots on the inside. That's a good turnaround jumper.
3 on Madison, and Doherty, who has 24 points. He's hit his last 7 baskets. Don't forget, he was 7 for 8 in the first half.
He will probably now, unless something goes completely haywire, he's going to break Bobby Jones' all-time record for field goal shooting percentage at North Carolina.
Doherty with 25 at 72-63. Biggest lead of the ball game, 9 points now for Carolina.
There was Springs bellying up back on Doherty. Doherty commits the foul from behind.
17 foul, and the bonus. Here's Dean Smith. If North Carolina wins, he says, I'm hoping we have some kind of celebration. He says the other teams celebrate, and we don't do it. We've had a few huggers, he says, in the dressing room, but nothing like a big celebration at midcourt as other teams have had when they've knocked off North Carolina. Hunter goes out of the game, and Lebo goes back in.
Springs not a good free throw shooter.
Misses the front end. 72-63, 4.5 to play.
The pace is really slowed down, though, and I don't know if the players even realize it, but, you know, they're not going at the fever pitch they were in that first half.
Utah trapping. Lebo now Hale beating Wolf, and Wolf is fouled.
That's all Upshaw could do. He just tried to get a piece of that arm.
4 fouls on Upshaw. And Utah, as you pointed out, looks like, indeed, with the pace of the game and the way it was before, could be starting to run out again.
They're slowing down now. You can see it.
Cy Moore, a 6'5 junior from Ogden, Utah, comes into the ball game replacing Springs, who goes out. He scored 4 points, half of his season's average. Wolf is on the line.
Moore not very tall, about 6'5". They list him a little taller than that, but a 7-foot high jumper. So I guess Lynn Archibald is trying to get somebody that can go up on the boards.
Talk about having that strong front line that Dean Smith has. North Carolina is attempting their 22nd shot from the line. Utah's going to the line only 7 times tonight.
Well, when you play the perimeter game, the transition game, you're not going to get many fouls on the inside.
10-point lead for North Carolina. Opening it up now. Winding down here to 4 minutes to go in the game. But Utah has given Carolina all they could ask for until now. And they're not out of it yet. Hendricks.
They haven't been able to get Stroman the ball now that North Carolina is playing primarily the zone. Here he is in the corner. You're going to try one.
And Upshaw hasn't gotten many shots off either. Hendricks.
Tough shot, and he hit it over Hunter. Great range.
He had Hunter right in his face, and he went for the long shot anyway. And it's an 8-point game.
Well, we got a chance to see Hershey Hawkins today from Bradley. He's got great range in that jumper also.
Hunter driving in the baseline and a foul on Madison. That'll be 4 on Jimmy Madison.
Well, Hunter did the wise thing. He took it baseline and knew he had to go to the jam because Madison's proven that he can go up in the air for the blocks. Smart move. Hunter's got every man. He's got Stroman beat on the baseline. He knows Madison's coming over, so he goes right up for the dunk. Madison is really a powerful kid. Just a freshman.
Hunter. The junior from Durham.
Free throws can cost you.
Utah 20-9, and their dream, which started tonight, could very well be on the verge of ending in a hurry with 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining here in this first round action in Ogden. Hunter gets the roll. North Carolina looking to advance to the second round against the University of Alabama Birmingham. That game will be played Saturday here in Ogden.
Stroman trying to go find a place where he can get a shot off.
Goes into Wolf and throws up an air ball. Inside is Upshaw, and the crowd can't get the foul and loses the ball to Joe Wolf. Nothing you can do against such players that are 5-6 inches taller, 2 of them.
Well, Upshaw did a good job just getting that rebound. Now North Carolina spreading things out a little bit. Here you see the 4 corners designed to try to get something easy on the inside.
3:05 remaining, 74-65, North Carolina.
The difference in the offense now is, however, as the shot clock winds down where it is now 20 seconds, you've got to go ahead and go into kind of a one-on-one move to score.
Hale in the lane, beats Doherty.
They're going to call walking, I believe. No, a foul before the shot.
And Madison, that may be his 5th personal foul.
So Doherty's really been responsible for fouling out 2 key players for Utah tonight.
So first it was Mitch Smith, and now it's Jimmy Madison. 2 big men at 6'8" have fouled out for Utah, and Doherty will go to the line, and he has been really a one-man gang in a lot of ways inside.
The thing that's impressed me so much about Doherty is the condition that he's in, Dick. You know, he's a big man. He's run up and down the court. He's battled on the boards. He's had to move to get his offensive position. He still has had the good touch on his shot.
And he's only 20 years old.
Entered school at 16, didn't turn 17 till practice had already started in his freshman year. With, you know, if you're looking at him as a pro player, you got to say he's going to be a man in a couple of years and still have be only about 22, 23 years of age.
Still maturing,
right?
So many ways. Rebound coming out to Carolina. Doherty in a phenomenal 12 of 13 from the field tonight. 27 points. For the Black Mountain, North Carolina senior.
Good move. He's going to get another dunk. Oh, great block!
Blocked by Springs out of bounds, and the North Carolina bench can't believe that call.
Well, Springs and Doherty patted each other. And that is an amazing call. Here's Doherty calling for the dunk. I think it was a great block.
Yeah, he got the ball and spun the ball away.
Great block.
Spun it away. Upshaw.
Springs is 6'4".
And Hale brings it back. Inside to Lebo for the layup, and North Carolina is now winning going away. 78-65, 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go.
This is a game where the score will not be indicative of what really happened on the court tonight. Nice job by Lebo to dive for the ball.
He prevented an easy basket for Utah by holding on to it. Hendricks was ahead of the field. Stroman over Hale. Can't do it. And the rebound by Wolf with under 2 minutes to play.
You have to believe Stroman's physical condition really took him out of the game the second half. He's just been a shell of himself so far.
He had 10 points at the half, has had 7, but he really hasn't been as active.
That's right.
1:42 to go, and North Carolina with the 4 corners within reason of the shot clock, using the time.
Hale understanding not to draw the charge. And a good free throw shooter is Hale, so you want him to have his hands on the ball as often as possible. Now here was Doherty. He's going right in there for a crunch dunk. Sprints, comes all the way across the lane, makes a great block. All ball. The ball spins away, and it ends up to be Utah's ball on the sideline.
You know, Billy, we're talking about Dean Smith and all he's achieved. You know, Bill Guthridge, his assistant coach, has been to 8 Final Fours in his own right. That's a pretty good record for any coach, an assistant coach, going to the Final Four 8 times. Quite a record.
When you start talking about Dean Smith, you start talking about, first of all, he's in the Hall of Fame. 1983, there's that brain trust there. Dean Smith, Eddie Fogler. But he's the only guy, along with Bobby Knight, that's played in the NCAA, coached in the NCAA, played on a championship team in the NCAA, coached the NCAA championship team, championship NIT teams, Olympic team, and he and Bobby Knight, only 2.
Gail Gondrezick is into the ball game, and Hendricks goes out for Utah, and he has played an outstanding game with 14 points.
You know, it's hard to believe when you look at the scoreboard that it's 15 points. I mean, Utah's been there the whole time. Great block by Warren Martin.
Stroman had his shot blocked by Martin. And North Carolina, let's see the whistle inside.
It's going to be more going to the foul line.
Cy Moore will shoot. Here's the picture right now here in Ogden. UAB in a thriller over Missouri. Bradley beat UTEP. Louisville won today, and if North Carolina holds the lead, and they're leading by 15 with 1:22 to go, North Carolina will play UAB, and it'll be Louisville going against Bradley.
It's going to be an interesting game. Louisville has been so hot coming on here the latter part of the year. Bradley, of course, only losing 2 games all year long. That's going to be quite a contest.
Well, since the game was tied at 61, North Carolina has outscored Utah 19-6 to break open this ball game.
And I think the Utah players just kind of wore down.
Smith. And they call the blocking foul against Utah with 1:10 remaining, and an 80-67 North Carolina lead. It'll be 20-10 to finish the season for Utah. As Billy mentioned, they won 8 in a row to finish in a tie for first in the WAC, and then lost to San Diego State in a heartbreaker with no time remaining in the first round of the Western Athletic Conference tournament.
Lose 3 key seniors, but they had a good freshman class. You can see North Carolina with that little smile, a little anticipation. I wonder if those players realize that Utah has lost to 7 teams that have won national championships.
Joe Wolf leaves the game for North Carolina, and a fine game for Kelvin Upshaw with 18 points, and his outside shooting kept Utah in the ballgame.
And the great transition game was what was led by Upshaw also in the first half.
81-67. Kenny Smith, he's had a fine game outside. He was in a shooting slump. He has 14 points and 4 assists in this game. North Carolina will go to 27-5. Springs. And Gondrezick with the follow-up shot over Martin. All of North Carolina's 5 losses have been to Atlantic Coast Conference foes.
Well, and you figure 2 of those to Duke. Maryland had their number this year. They got 2 of them.
Smith going. Oh! What's going? Now hung on the rim, and a technical foul will be called.
What Kenny Smith is going to say is, I hung on the rim because I thought I was going to fall under him, but that's not going to go with the officials. Basket will count. Technical foul on Smith for holding on to the rim. Now, see, he thought he was undercut right there. That's why he hung on the rim.
It's
not really hurt your hand there.
Yeah. He's still pleading his case as Kenny Smith. Stroman will go on the line here.
Kenny's just saying to the official that he thought that maybe he was going to get undercut.
Stroman with 17 points. Amazing that suffering a bruised sternum in a game against North Carolina, he matches his season's average. Here's
You
Smith.
can see the play, and he's hanging on. You can see where Kenny Smith thought he was going to fall, so he hung on to the rim. He was looking right down the player. How he had that kind of composure, I'll never know.
And Stroman goes out of the ball game. Looks like North Carolina, though, showing some emotion here, and with 37 seconds remaining. Leading by 14, Connor in the ball game for the second time, hits the jump shot.
Well, Dick, when you lose 4 out of 5 and you maybe have a little uncertainty yourself what's going on, you get that first NCAA game out of the way. It has to help.
And Dean Smith said, he said, a lot of those losses could have come early in the year on the road. He said Maryland might have been their best game of the year, the loss at home, except for the last 3 minutes.
That's right. Of course, they lost at NC State, and so did Louisville and Kentucky lose there in back-to-back weekends, so not exactly a picnic.
North Carolina will advance as they run out the clock. Utah gave them all they could handle. And the crowd should give Utah quite a salute as the North Carolina Tar Heels, after leading by 1 point and going back and forth in a game that featured 13 lead changes and 8 ties, Dean Smith has tacked up his 32nd NCAA tournament victory. And for Lynn Archibald, who has done a tremendous job, congratulations to Manuel Hendricks. Utah played a tremendous contest considering the fact they did not have the height to battle North Carolina, and no one was more game than I've seen lately than Stroman.
I thought that first half particularly, he was just giving his all going down the court, and he just ran out of breath. Terrific physical activity on the part of Utah in that first half.
So North Carolina wins it 84-72, and right now let's send it back to New York and Brent Musburger. Brent?
All right, Dick, thank you. And our Chevrolet most valuable players of that game for North Carolina, their center Brad Doherty with 27 points. For Utah, Jerry Stroman, he scored 18. I want to remind everybody that tomorrow night at 11:30 Eastern Time, we'll be back out west, and our game will be Arizona against Auburn. Again, that action will start at 11:30 Eastern Time. We're going to have some interviews. We'll be hearing from the victorious Tar Heels, and we'll be back when we continue after these messages.